I've been living in Williamstown for the last 12 years. I love the history, that's the number one thing. There's been people living on this spot here since 1835. It's still one of those places where you can walk down the street and people will say hello to you as you walk past them. I was born in 1955 at Footscray Hospital, and then not long after I was born, we went to live in North Sunshine. I had a really fantastic childhood, lots of really good friends, and I actually believed till I was about 15 that everybody else was exactly the same as me. Then I started to realise that my attraction for other guys was a little bit more than other people, and not to talk about it, but I still didn't quite understand what I was. There are absolutely no role models, no gay people, nothing in my life. And then one day when I was about 15, I was watching TV and someone had left the ABC on, and there was a documentary about Four Corners or something like that, that was on a group called Society 5, a Melbourne-based gay group. And there I saw normal looking men dancing with each other and saying that they were gay. And suddenly a light went on. And I thought, for the first time in my life, I kind of realised that I wasn't alone, that I wasn't the only person in the world that felt like that. And that moment still, to this day, sticks in my mind and gives me tingles. When I left home in my early 20s and I moved to Footscray and ended up in a share house in Footscray, where I lived for a couple of years. That was a period where I actually made my first few gay friends. Homosexuality in Victoria was still a criminal offence, so we had to be careful. In my late teens, early 20s, I did competition ballroom dancing. Then in the early 90s, line dancing happened, and I threw myself into line dancing, and one particular night that's where I met Stephen. That was a really fun time in the Melbourne gay community, the whole line dancing era. In many ways, that was a big turning point, I think, not just for me, but for the gay community. Things started changing really, really fast there in the mid-90s. A change for the better that hasn't stopped. I've had 3 major relationships in my life. Serial monogamy worked in my favour very much back when HIV/AIDS first started, because I was in the middle of a 7-year relationship. It was monogamous and I was shielded from it. And most of my friends were actually in the same circumstance. So I am so lucky that I have only lost 1 friend through HIV. That in itself was a tragedy, but I'm so lucky that all my other friends have managed to come through it okay. My current partner, the love of my life, who I met 19 years ago, has taken my life to a whole new level. A combination of him being such a special person and society changing has allowed us to be something that I could never even imagined as a younger person. The concept of same-sex marriage, to me, when I was like even 30, was almost impossible to believe. It would just be a nonsense to even think that could ever happen. And things have moved very fast towards it. 18, 19 years ago, when Steve and I first met, Stephen was very keen to have a child. At that time, I didn't feel the timing was right. I didn't really believe that society would change as quickly as it has. And that's always been an issue in our relationship, the fact that I wasn't as positive to that situation. I don't understand some people's argument against same-sex marriage. When Julia Gillard went on, I saw on TV, saying that she didn't believe in same-sex marriage because it wasn't traditional. A woman Prime Minister, unmarried in the Lodge, saying that she didn't believe because it wasn't traditional was just appalling. To me, that's the very definition of homophobia. What she was saying didn't make sense, other than that she didn't believe that same-sex people should have the right to marry. And there are many of Julia Gillards out there that say that they're not homophobic, but they can't quite really put their finger on why they don't approve of same-sex people getting married. The things that Hobsons Bay Council has been doing, and the Western Suburbs Councils with Go West, has been fantastic. When those kind of events actually happen in your neighbourhood, things move a little bit for you. You actually realise that you're not living on an island, that you actually are part of the broader community. I'd like to see a day when we are just like everybody else, that we don't need special groups, we don't need special help, because it's just like hair colour, we're just a little bit different, but no different than anyone else. And although it sounds far-fetched still, when I think back to when I was a kid, the changes we've seen, that is more than possible.